Just excited to be here. We lost 90% of our scoring, 90% of our minutes from a year ago. So basically a new team found its way through a hectic season, and we're playing in March, and that's a great accomplishment. So we're proud of our efforts. We're proud of the way we finished the season, and we're proud to be here in Dayton representing San Diego State University.
All right, questions for Coach. Let's go to the second row on the end.
All right, John Schaefer, San Diego Sports 760. Dutch, what type of challenge is it hearing your name called Sunday, traveling and playing Tuesday, knowing that this is part of the tournament setting? Sometimes you play with one-day prep after winning a game, or in a conference tournament, you can play multiple games in multiple days. So what kind of experience and turnaround is this for you?
I've been coming to this event for a long time, and this is something brand new. I mean, I've been to 4 national championship games, 3 at Michigan as an assistant, once as the head coach at San Diego State, but I've never been in the first 4. So this is a new experience. It's rapid. Coaches are overthinkers anyway, so we always complain and worry we don't have enough time to get ready. But at the end of the day, March is for players. So our guys will be ready. We'll give them a game plan tomorrow morning, and then we'll play tomorrow night. So we didn't get a chance to practice. We didn't have our flight confirmed, I think, until like 9:30 last night. Met at the arena at 8:15, flew out at 9, had to come to the public practice. And so they watched a little tape on the plane. We sat down after a quick meal at the hotel and watched individuals. So we're just in the infancy of a game plan. So tomorrow morning will be critical, concentrating. And that's why these conference tournaments are always so good, because you play 3 games in 3 days, or so you're used to quick prep. So we will quick prep and be ready to play tomorrow night.
Other questions for Coach? Let's go to the second row across the aisle here.
Caleb Zaffe at University of Dayton. Players before you mentioned about defensive and offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding. How do you ensure that the defensive strategies, for North Carolina?
Well, we've gotten beat because we can't rebound the ball. That's why Boise beat us. I think they shot 33% from the field and 27% from 3 and got a victory because we couldn't rebound the ball. So that's been an Achilles heel all year. So we concentrate on it. We talk about it. Now we have to do it if we want to win at the highest level. So obviously North Carolina presents a lot of problems. They're fast. They run. They put a lot of points on the board. And we have to find a way to make it a lower scoring game. It can't be up in the 80s and 90s. We have to play in the 70s if we have a chance to win.
Second row.
John Schaefer again, San Diego Sports 760. Dutch, how have you adapted without Magoon Gwath over these last 6 games, and what are you hoping for his impact to be in the game tomorrow night?
Well, I became a worse coach without Magoon, so hopefully I'll be a good coach again. Magoon is our freshman big. He was freshman of the year in the Mountain West Conference, defensive player of the year in the Mountain West Conference, and he's been out of action since February 22nd, I believe. So basically 6 games. He got hurt 2 minutes into the Utah State game. So now we practiced full yesterday, limited reps, but full go. And so our intention is to have him on the court tomorrow and see what kind of difference he'll make for the Aztecs.
Coach, your players were up here. They were talking about the Mountain West Conference, and one thing I thought was interesting was elevation. For you, you have highlighted this, being around basketball for a long time. I guess one, elevation and the significance of that point in the league, but then also just the toughness of your league and what we've seen here in the last decade.
Yeah, playing at altitude is very difficult. And our biggest jump as a program is when we got rid of travel partners, because we'd have to spend 3 or 4 days at altitude to play that second game. And now if we play at altitude, we try to get out the next day, get home, and before we go back and play another game at altitude. So it usually takes 24 to 36 hours. You have the best chance to play. If you stay beyond that, it takes 2 weeks to acclimate. So you look at your team sometimes and you say, why are we running a quick sign? Why are we a half step slow to everything? And it's usually the altitude. A half step slow will get you beat. So, and the other teams know that. New Mexico, Air Force, Wyoming, they all post in the locker room the signs of altitude sickness. So they use it as a psychological tool. So I don't think anyone else in the country is dealing with that other than us and the people that play in the Mountain West. But we're playing at 7,000 feet, and it makes a difference. So we've been tough enough to endure it, to find ways to win in those hard environments against good teams too. I'm not saying the only reason we get beat is altitude. They've got good teams, and they're playing at altitude. And so that makes it doubly tough sometimes in the Mountain West. I don't think it's people around the nation really appreciate what that's like.
Other questions for Coach? Let's go back to the second row.
Dutch, in the short period of time you've had since you found out it's North Carolina, when you turn on the film, when you see the job Hubert Davis has done, I mean, obviously they were in a national championship game the year before you were in a national championship game. R.J. Davis was on that team. He's still here in 2025. What do you see from North Carolina that sticks out on film?
They're talented. They're fast. They're can score the basketball at an elite level. And I looked at their schedule, and I thought we played a tough schedule. But you look at who they played, it's Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Michigan State, Duke 3 times. You're talking about all the number 1 and 2 seeds in the tournament. And so, yeah, they would have liked to win some of those games, but those are really good teams. So Coach Davis has done a great job holding them together through some tough losses, and they're playing their best basketball, which you want to do. That's a sign of a really good coach when your team plays its best basketball in March. And I think North Carolina is playing its best basketball in March.
Let's go to the third row in the back corner.
Patrick Sableski, University of Dayton. You mentioned earlier the loss to Boise State in the conference tournament. How do you rebound from a loss like that to get ready for a win-or-go-home game?
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, I think it was 17 years since we haven't got out of the quarterfinal game. And I've been the head coach 8 years and played in the championship game 7 times. So we're used to winning in the Mountain West tournament, and that didn't happen. Boise's got a good team. Obviously, they played differently against us in order to win. They took 43s. I think that's a high for the year. And they got a lot of the misses. So we went back. We emphasized rebounding again is the thing we have to do at an elite level if we want to win, because we do guard hard. We're pretty efficient offensively. We're playing better down the stretch offensively. And we have to rebound the ball if we want to be really good in March.
A follow-up to that question, Coach, looking back to the Mountain West Conference tournament, did you have an idea in your head to where it was kind of a win and in situation, and then where you sort of fell last night and seeing your name called and being on the bubble?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we try to take care of all the things we can when we schedule. We played the 7th toughest non-conference schedule in the country this year because we know that's important to the committee. And even with that being said, with wins over Houston and Creighton, and then our crosstown team, UCSD, who won both regular season conference tournament in the Big West, we were one of the last 2 teams in. So we have to continue to study what the committee's looking at and schedule appropriately. We want to play the toughest schedule we can play. But sometimes that's hard. The better we are, the less teams want to play us. So the NIL event worked out great for us in Vegas. It gave us 3 really good games. Obviously, we have losses this year to Gonzaga and Oregon. So we continue to try to schedule up to put ourselves in a position where we can play in March based on what we do in the non-conference and trying to have a good Mountain West record.
Other questions for Coach? Let's go back to the second row.
We could have done this in San Diego, John.
We could. You want to do it next time?
No,
we'll do
we're
this in
fine.
Dayton. I'd rather do it here in Dayton, Doug.
Okay.
John Schaefer against San Diego Sports 760. You touched on it, but when you consider what you've overcome to get here, when Reese Waters goes down, I mean, you can't prepare for this. You're weeks in front of your season. You lose a veteran, pivotal piece from a team that last year's in the Sweet 16. You lose Magoon Gwath. You've played 6 underclassmen in eligibility all year long. What does it say about this group that they've reached this point with an opportunity to do more?
That they're gritty, they're tough, they have something about them. That I mean, we went on more scoring runs this year than I've ever seen in my career. Down 18, 19 points and go on a 17-0 run, 20-0 run, 18-0 run, all in one season. So they've got a toughness about them when things aren't going right, that they don't give in, that they find a way to continue to fight for 40. And that's allowed us to have some success. That they're young, they make young mistakes, but it's not a lack of effort, it's not a lack of fight, and that's what's allowed us to be sitting here today.
And a follow-up question to that, has there been something that surprised you about this group?
Well, sometimes I say it's like coaching, and sometimes it's like babysitting. So when it's coaching, we're better. When I'm babysitting, it's harder. So they're young, but they're getting better. They're getting better. And so hopefully in the NIL era, I can return this team next year. I've got a lot of really good players that are supposed to come back next year, and we'll grow from this year, try to make a run this year, and then be better next year.
Let's go to the second row.
Will Martin, University of Dayton Media. How do you make sure the players are mentally prepared, knowing one loss could end the season?
Yeah, that's the beauty of this year. It's the ending is so sudden. No matter how much it's one and done, when you go in the locker room and the season's over, it's devastating. Whether it's losing to Connecticut 2 years ago in the championship game or losing to Connecticut last year in the Sweet 16. I mean, over the last 2 years, we're 7 in UConn. We ran into them twice, and they're the national champs. So hopefully we can continue that run and find UConn in the bracket somewhere down the road and get our revenge. But it's hard. It's hard. Winning in March is hard. And I remember my first head coaching NCAA victory. Everybody was so happy for me, and I was more happy for the kids. So I've never been like that. So I just like those moments where you can see them celebrate, when you can see them see their name come up on the TV, and then to be there for them when things don't go right, when you lose a game you don't feel you should have. So that's all part of coaching, and it's all part of the journey we're all on together.
Amongst the experience, Coach, in this time of the year and being able to advance, you've had a lot part of it. What is sort of the biggest takeaway in sort of telling your group, especially like this young group, of sort of what to be ready and prepared for?
It's just play with swagger. Don't be afraid. I don't want to lose with a scared team. So that might open it up for some mistakes, some wild shots. They might interpret that as being crazy, but you can't win being scared. So we'll go out there and I'll live with some shots they take as long as we're competing at a high level, defending the way I know we can, and I'll live with a shot or two that people may be watching from the stands or the sidelines saying, what is he doing? But I want them confident. You can't win in March unless you're confident, and I want a confident group out there tomorrow night.
Other questions for Coach? Oh, back row.
Coach Don Nelson from Ohio University. Conditioning-wise, and that plays a big part, how deep do you go on your bench during this time of year?
We've been going 9 or 10 deep all year. With Magoon, we go 10 deep, and we'll go 10 deep tomorrow. The way we play defense, what we ask them to do, you can't play that way for 40 if you're on the floor the whole time. So we try to pick the ball up, try to pressure, try to compete at a high level. And so we've been deep all year, and we'll continue to play deep tomorrow.
Talking about Magoon's status and looking ahead towards tomorrow, just what you've seen from him here in an incredible freshman year, did you expect his impact and what he's been able to do and immediately stepping on the stage of the college game?
Yeah, we redshirted Magoon last year, so we knew kind of what we had. And I think Magoon's potentially an NBA player. So to do that as a freshman is hard to do. But he's gotten better as the season's gone on. And until he got hurt, arguably he was playing the best basketball of his career the last 8 games. Smart, staying out of foul trouble, blocking shots, scoring from every level. 3 in the post, off the dribble. So we'll see how he does. He's missed a lot of basketballs. Just to throw him out there and expect he's going to be perfect is hard to do, but we're not going to win in March unless he's really good. So that's why we wanted to make sure, first and foremost, he was healthy, and now we got to hope that he can catch up timing-wise to the game as it goes, having not played for 3 weeks.
Third row, towards the back.
Patrick Sdsu, University of Dayton. You've had a lot of success playing at home. You won 12 games this year, 14 last year. What is it about San Diego State that makes you have so much success on your home floor?
It's a lot like the Dayton environment. We have great home crowds. We're sold out on the season. We have a great student section. And when we're not playing well, the crowd gets behind us. They don't get on us, and they motivate us to play harder. And they're a huge difference in our success. And the Mount West has some great home court environments. Utah State is incredible. The Pit in New Mexico is incredible. Colorado State sold out. Boise. We play in some of the best environments in the country. And every coach feels his conference is the hardest to play in because it's the one he's in. But the Mountain West has got great fan bases that really support their teams, and it's a challenge to win games in our conference.